I'm so excited to be back and take off another song off our song meaning list. And up next we have So Long London. And it's right on time for the Eras tour part in London, which interestingly enough, we thought she was gonna be like sad and play So Long London, London Boy. We got none of that. Instead, we got Travis on stage. I think just completely the opposite of what we all expected, but I just love that for her because she's just having the best time. But let's just get started looking at the lyrics. The song starts with this kind of chime. So long, London. It's been suggested that the sound is kind of reminiscent to wedding bells. Given that that is a theme heavily explored in this album, I wouldn't put it past her. Others have suggested that it mimics the chime of like the Big Ben. For me, it also for some reason kind of reminded me of the my parts of Death by a Thousand Cuts. I saw in my mind fairy lights through the mist. This could be a reference to the song Lover, where she talks about the Christmas lights, which are also called fairy lights. This could symbolize that past the fog and the unknown, she felt like she knew for a fact that that was gonna be there. Kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel, basically. I kept calm and carried the weight of the rift. Now, keep calm and carry on. You might have heard that before. It's a famous line from pre-World War II motivational posters that were used by the UK government. She's again using this to draw connections to England, which of course, this song obviously is speculated to be about her ex-boyfriend who was from England. And she says how she kept calm even though there was a lot of trouble in the relationship. She tried to just continue forward. Pulled him tighter each time he was drifting away. When they had fights and she felt like they were losing touch, she would just pull him closer. She wasn't gonna let him go. Spine split from carrying us up the hill. Wet through my clothes, weary bones through the chill. I stopped trying to make him laugh, stopped trying to drill the safe. Here she's saying how she felt the weight of the relationship and like she was the only one putting effort into getting it out of the rut. And then she reached her breaking point. She felt like she was done trying to make him laugh, trying to make him smile. And here she's drawing parallels to her song Mirror Ball, where she sings that she's trying everything to keep you laughing at me. And now she's like, okay, I'm done trying to keep you laughing. The battle going through the mist into those distant fairy lights that she sees, she just is like, I'm done. Thinking, how much sad did you think I had? Did you think I had in me? Oh, the tragedy. So long, London, you'll find someone. Here she's basically asking him like, how much did you think I was gonna be able to take before I had to take a step to say goodbye? How much sadness would become too much? Which reminds me, of course, of the lyrics in You're Losing Me, where she sings, how long could we be a sad song till we were too far gone to bring back to life? It's a very similar type of question. How long did he think that this was gonna continue on the way that it was? If things weren't good, eventually, it needed to end. When she says so long, London, she's of course referring to him. He is London to her. She has always really encapsulated him into the idea that he is this London boy. It's part of the relationship that she's the American queen and he's the London boy. And she sings, you'll find someone, something similar from what we hear in Champagne Problems, where she says you'll find the real thing instead. And then we get to the second verse. I didn't opt in to be your odd man out. I founded the club she's heard great things about. I left all I knew, you left me by the house by the heath. There's a lot to unpack on this bit. When she talks about founding the club, the general assumption has been that she's obviously very big on the spotlight and he's not particularly the most known actor. So she's saying that maybe she helped him build the reputation. Now, I'm not sure if this is really what she's saying, but this is what I have read is the main interpretation of this line, that people have become more fond of him and people know him and there's good things circulating around about him because of her. If you don't agree with this, I'm curious what theories you have because this was the only one that I could really find. I feel like I can agree with the interpretation of that. Then she says she left all she knew, so this is really obvious, like leaving the relationship. After being in a relationship 6-7 years, that's like your whole life. But then she says he left her by the house by the heath. What does this mean? Apparently, this is making reference to a lot of things. For starters, Taylor and Joe lived together in a house near Hampstead Heath in London. When asked in an interview where he would be most likely to be buried, which first of all, that's kind of a weird question to ask someone, but Joe said that it would be in Hampstead Heath. Why can't I pronounce that? Hampstead Heath. Taylor also describes herself as being on the heath in London Boy. She continues, I stopped CPR, after all, it's no use. The spirit was gone. We would never come to. And I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. This again reminds me a little bit of You're Losing Me. People had already drawn a lot of parallels to You're Losing Me on like CPR or like being on a lifeline. The idea of losing someone from their heart giving out, and I feel like this kind of has that same feel. When she says the spirit was gone, it made me think of how did it end when she sings my beloved ghost in me. So she finishes that second verse addressing how she had anger towards all the years that they were together for it to amount to nothing. Not that it was nothing, but that it wasn't her forever. She gave him all her youth because they started dating around the time that she was like, I think 26, and it just wasn't the forever that she thought it was gonna be. We get to the chorus again. For so long, London, stitches undone, 2 graves, 1 gun, you'll find someone. In her song Glitch, she sings, 5 seconds later, I'm fastening myself to you with a stitch. So when she sings stitches undone, it could be about the release of that relationship, like getting out of that relationship. The line about the gun makes me think that it was just one thing that ended the whole relationship. So 2 graves is obviously for both of them putting the relationship to an end. And the 1 gun, I think, symbolizes like that there was one thing that kind of blew it all. Obviously, there was a pileup of stuff, but there was just one thing that was the trigger of it all. Could the gun be a symbolism for that peace that she says that she could never give him and that he very clearly wanted? And you say I abandoned the ship, but I was going down with it. My white knuckle dying grip, holding tight to your quiet resentment. So here she's talking about how she really took a leap to leave that relationship, which is obviously, when you're in a relationship, I think it just gets harder and harder the longer you are in it. But he's kind of accusing her of just abandoning the ship, of just walking out and not putting effort into it. But she says, that's not the case. I had to leave because there was no longer any way that we were going to save this relationship. I was going to go down with it. So if you're holding tightly to something and the pressure is reducing your blood flow, that's what she's talking about when she says the white knuckle dying grip. So in that sentence, she's just basically saying how she was holding on for dear life to that relationship so bad that she was even reducing the blood flow in her knuckles. Like she really gave it her all, but it was still not enough. She had to just let it go. And yet, meanwhile, he kept resenting her for something. Again, could that be a reference to that peace aspect of the relationship? Whether it was that or something else, he was resenting her for something that she couldn't do anything about. He was quiet about it, so they also weren't communicating well. And my friend said, it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair. Every breath feels like the rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there. Here she's basically saying that throughout the relationship, she was constantly afraid that he was gonna cheat on her. She felt like he wasn't really happy to be there with her, that it like grew into fear and anxiety. And since he was acting so depressed, I think any sign of him acting happy was kind of like a little bit of fresh air to her, like feeling like she could finally breathe, like, okay, he does want to be here, he does want to be with me, but it was very up and down. And we get to the chorus again. The first half is the same, but we get a slightly different ending. Just how low did you think I'd go before I'd self-implode, before I'd have to go be free? So it's that exact same message that we talked about before. Like, she's just saying, like, you can't be surprised about this. At some point, this was all gonna be too low, too many dark moments. You swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? I died on the altar waiting for the proof. You sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. She basically ended the relationship waiting to see that commitment from him. She died on the altar waiting for the proof. He never showed that intention that he wanted to marry her truly. He never committed in that way. And ultimately, the relationship came to an end with her just waiting for that moment to happen. Now we know Joe's favorite color is blue, and Taylor has often used it to romanticize things, but it is also often seen as the color of sadness. So in this line, she's basically saying that he let his hardest days take her away from him. He let the sad days win because there were just too many of them. So he decided to sacrifice her to the god of his darkness. He just like decided, let's just let her go. Maybe there was a certain sadness or difficulty that he had to bear with while being with her, maybe to do with this whole concept of not getting peace and being in the public eye. And I'm just getting color back into my face. I'm just mad as hell because I loved this place. So again, yet another reference to You're Losing Me, where she's talking about losing the color in her face, where she's saying my face was great, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. Flash forward to now, Travis on stage putting the color back on Taylor's face, almost literally. And basically what she's saying here is that post-breakup, obviously it took some time for her to start getting color back on her face, to be recovering from that long relationship. And it's so difficult for her because she just loved him so much. For so long, he was her world. And the song closes again with the chimes. So she's basically saying, I'm not the one for you. We shared a really nice moment. for a second in the sun, but we're not for each other. It just wasn't meant to be. And that is it for So Long London. Obviously a very heartbreaking song about Taylor's long-term relationship with Joe Alwyn coming to an end. And obviously all these different feelings of like being sad, being angry because you gave your youth away. Like you spent so much time with someone and then it just doesn't work out, and that can always be a very difficult thing. But again, one of the recurring themes that we keep seeing is about weddings and marriage, and we see that clearly that is something that she wants. And he was not showing her that level of commitment. So maybe there was still some doubt in him. Did I miss anything in the lyrics? Let me know below because I do love hearing more interpretations. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in the next one, which fingers crossed will not take me another month to make. I work full time and I was out sick and traveling so often, just life gets in the way. I wish I could put out videos more often. I do really enjoy chatting with you guys. I hope this video wasn't too fast paced. I felt like my script was really long, so I wanted to move kind of quickly. But now I feel like I maybe rushed it a bit. So let me know if maybe you prefer it. Sometimes when I watch videos, I'm also like, so much more interesting when people move fast and you don't have to stall everything. But let me know what you guys prefer. All right, bye.